Released in 2004, Godzilla Final Wars is widely regarded as one of the best kaiju films of all time and remains popular even among those who aren't hardcore fans of the Godzilla franchise. Directed by Ryuhei Kitamura, this film was all the more special as Eiichi Asada was looped in to work on the special effects, and the movie followed a mysterious alien race known as the Exilians as they arrived on Earth and faced the Earth Defense Force. The film caught audience eyes due to its impressive Matrix-style fight sequences and unique concepts such as alien kung fu, and today we're going to explore all of these elements and dissect why Godzilla Final Wars might just be the most wild kaiju movie ever made. Before we get into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. The Matrix-style martial arts mayhem. Godzilla Final Wars was regarded as one of the series' costliest productions, especially due to all the effort that went into mixing some old-school monster mayhem with a fresh Matrix-style martial arts perspective. The film follows humanity's clash with alien forces, and Ryuhei Kitamura was highly praised for his direction and co-scenarist contributions. Regarded as a fantasy action whiz, Kitamura's expertise helped craft some of the most entertaining martial arts sequences in this sci-fi twist on plain old kaiju action. The film revolved around Exilians as they arrived on Earth and took human forms before attempting to replace the United Nations with the United Universe organization, but they soon revealed their true intentions to breed humans. Finding themselves in a pickle, humanity decides to defreeze Godzilla in the hopes that he would manage to get rid of these Exilians, but it turns out that the kaiju monster was a bit mad at humans for freezing him in the first place. One can imagine the level of conflict that soon followed, and we got a mix of human-alien clashes, Godzilla clashes, as well as Godzilla-Exilian encounters, of course. Even Mothra shows up to help out Godzilla, and there are plenty of martial arts sequences where opposing forces of nature try to combat one another. While we have Godzilla's typical martial arts moves, the movie blends them to match the Exilians' enhanced technology and Matrix-style approach to combat. Moreover, a mix of CGI, prosthetic effects, production, and Takumi Furuya's photography come together to create some of the most action-packed sequences we've ever seen in a kaiju movie in recent times. In an interview with Kaiju United, Ryuhei Kitamura talked about how he first met with producer Shogo Tomiyama, who was concerned about the franchise hitting the wall. Moreover, they lacked advanced VFX technology, and Kitamura then suggested including street fighting, MMA, boxing, or any other such styles. This was also around the time when mixed martial arts were a huge trend in Japan, and Kitamura studied MMA fighters and how they energized people. Soon enough, he was spending time with experienced fighters such as Don Frye and cast him in Godzilla Final Wars. Such attention to detail also contributed to the film's success, as it only made the scenes more authentic and elevated the action sequences to a whole new level. Aliens, mutants, and global warfare. Godzilla Final Wars was set in the Millennium Era in the year 20XX, wherein several environmental disasters had led to the appearance of giant monsters. At this point, the Earth Defense Force recruited many superhumans or mutants to fight against these monsters, and this was around the time that they managed to imprison Godzilla by unleashing Gotengo upon him in Antarctica. While the citizens were relieved that the monster was finally contained, Gotengo also stirred up a lot of trouble over the years, especially after Douglas Gordon upgraded it so it could have enhanced features and more capacity for destruction. Gordon then led it to destroy Manda in the English Channel, and the Earth Defense Forces then decided to suspend Gordon and put an end to this madness. Around this time, an EDF ensign named Shinichi Ozaki was sent to guard Dr. Muyuki Otonashi, a biologist on a mission to investigate a mummified monster. The two of them teleported to Infant Island and soon came across the priestesses of Mothra, aka the Shobijin. As they talked to them, the Shobijin revealed Gigan, an extraterrestrial cyborg that had first landed on Earth to destroy the planet thousands of years ago. While Mothra managed to defeat him back then, they revealed that there is an impending war between good and evil, and Ozaki would have to pick one of the two sides shortly. Around the same time, the Exilians invaded Earth under the pretense of maintaining peace, and we soon learned that they could control any creatures with an M base in their DNA. By abusing this power, they managed to control several kaiju, and they unleashed them across many major cities around the world. While Rodan attacked New York City City, Anguirus was in Shanghai, Zilla was in Sydney, Hedora was in Los Angeles, Kamacuras was in Paris, and so on. While the EDF tried to contain these monsters, they got more reports of Kumonga attacking Arizona, King Caesar in Okinawa, and Ibira in Tokai. But the entire attack ceased in no time when the Exilians teleported them away. Even though they had set up the attack themselves, the Exilians pretended that they had saved Earth from these monsters, and their commander even invited the EDF leaders onto their mothership. Soon enough, the Exilians pointed out that a runaway dwarf star named Gorath was on a collision course with Earth and offered their superior firepower to eliminate it. They also emphasized that they only wanted peace between their planets, and they came up with a plan to reconfigure the United Nations into the space nations. While things seemed to be going according to plan, they even signed a pact to maintain peaceful relations while tensions stirred up among the young Exilians and their commander. The Exilians did not understand why they had to take a peaceful approach, while their commander viewed their mission from a more diplomatic lens and assured them this was the right path. However, their plan doesn't work as smoothly as they had hoped when Ozaki, Miyuki, and Miyuki's sister Anna realized that the Gorath images were just a hologram created by the Exilians. They realized there was no incoming threat, but by then, the Exilians had infiltrated the EDF with some of their members filling in as imposters. When Ozaki and Miyuki realized that the Exilians had replaced the United Nations Security General and many high-ranking EDF officials, they gathered some EDF members who hadn't been compromised and even teamed up with Captain Gordon. They exposed the Exilian on a talk show by shooting the Secretary General to prove that he was an imposter, while the Exilian commander rushed to defuse the situation. However, the Exilian's second-in-command turns on him and kills him so that he could be the new commander, and he soon reveals his intentions to exploit humans as a food source and destroy humanity for good. Using his ability to control entities with an M-based DNA, the controller then takes control of several EDF mutant soldiers and awakened Gigan, while especially targeting Ozaki. He sent Gigan after Ozaki's group, who immediately make a run for it and escape on a restored Gotengo. Godzilla as an unstoppable force. With Gigan on their tail and major world cities on the verge of destruction, Commander Gordon assessed the situation and proposed that they gather all remaining EDF forces aboard the Gotengo. He then suggested that they should travel to Area G in Antarctica to free Godzilla, hoping that the kaiju would save humanity from these alien forces since he didn't have an M base and was immune to any alien mind control. While the controller sent Gigan after them, the Gotengo managed to free Godzilla and then guide him into a bunch of battles to contain the monster threats across the world. In no time, Godzilla defeated Kumonga, Hedora, Zilla, Rodan, Anguirus, Caesar, and Ebera before heading to Tokyo to find the Exilian warship. While the Gotengo's crew is captured and taken to the controller, Godzilla eliminates Gorath before it crashes in Tokyo, while Monster X resurfaces out of nowhere. Godzilla soon engages in battle, while Gigan also sides with Monster X, only for Mothra to show up and subdue it once more. As Godzilla and Monster X fight it out, the surviving members of the Gotengo crew, including Ozaki, Gordon, Miyuki, and Major Komura, finally face the controller. During this conversation, the controller shocks everyone by stating that he and Ozaki belong to a superior race called the Keezers, which was the result of a combination of human DNA and M-based DNA. He then managed to take control of Ozaki and guided him to fight against his crew, while the others scrambled to find a way to face him or help him revert to his usual state. Thankfully, Miyuki had a sacred dagger that was blessed by the Shobijin, and she immediately used it to free Ozaki from the controller's trap. At this point, Ozaki unlocks a horde of powers to get rid of the controller, who then activates the ship's self-destruct process. While the Gotengo's crew rushed to free as many captives as possible, the controller and the Exilian army were destroyed when the mothership self-destructed, while the Gotengo's crew escaped in the nick of time. All this while, Godzilla continued to fight against Monster X in a striking finale, wherein the controller transferred his Kaiser energy to Monster X when he realized he was going to die. This resulted in Monster X's transformation into Keezer Ghidorah, and Godzilla had a tough time fighting back against this entity when Ozaki used the Gotengo's master cannon to transfer his own Keezer energy to Godzilla. The kaiju then had enough energy to turn the tables and destroy Keezer Ghidorah, and in a shocking finale, he even attacked the Gotengo. While Godzilla was quite enraged, he didn't realize that the Gotengo's crew had helped him win, and he blamed humanity for all this chaos and destruction. Fortunately, Godzilla's son, Minilla, makes an appearance and convinces him to forgive humanity and leave them alone. As the film comes to an end, the surviving Gotengo crew watches Godzilla as he returns to the ocean with his son, and they all take a deep breath after having tackled alien invasions and monstrous attacks for far too long. Visual style and direction by Ryuhei Kitamura. On Godzilla Final War's 20th anniversary, Ryuhei Kitamura sat down for an in-depth interview where he talked about his creative vision and direction choices for the film. The film stood out as the last mainline film in the franchise to use suitmation tokusatsu techniques, where actual actors wear gigantic suits to add a realistic touch to the action scenes as opposed to special effects. At the same time, Godzilla Final Wars was also the first film in the franchise to use digital equipment, and Kitamura first shot on 35mm film before transferring it to digital to add VFX. While this was quite an interesting creative decision, it did come with its own challenges, as Japan's VFX technology was not yet that advanced. Kitamura talked about how the VFX supervisor constantly kept reminding him not to move the camera or set it too far for wider shots, as it made it tricky to composite it later. In this way, they had to keep things in the middle shot or close up, and Kitamura had to make many tough calls to align his creative vision with VFX technology demands. When it came to the action sequences, Kitamura often ended up freestyling sequences instead of sticking to the script entirely to create the most authentic action scenes possible. He worked with Eiichi Asada to execute his vision for the kaiju scenes and emphasized high contrast looks as opposed to too much brightness, which falls flat when it translates to the big screen. Kitamura was intent on avoiding this outcome, as it only focused on the costumes and miniatures and stole from the big picture. He also updated Gigan and brought back a lot of characters, such as Ghidorah, as they had to make thousands of storyboards to shape the kaiju battle action. When it came to discussing fighting styles, Kitamura worked with Mr. Wakasa to create the action suits for the mixed martial arts fights. He wanted Godzilla to use MMA techniques to beat all the other monsters, and they had to overcome several challenges to ensure that the action suits were light enough for the actors to move around and perform MMA techniques. At the end of the day, it all worked out perfectly, and Godzilla Final Wars was highly praised as the wildest kaiju movie ever made. Marvelous verdict! And with that, we've explored Godzilla Final Wars and all the events that shaped this film to be the masterclass in special effects and unique fight sequences that it is. From alien schemes to Matrix-style fights to a whole lot of alien kung fu, we hope you enjoyed exploring this film with us. It's also interesting to know Ryuhei Kitamura's inspiration behind all these creative decisions, and we'd love to hear what you think about them in the comments down below. If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Otherwise, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day.